the computer has fixed set of answers and cannot add anything. From its own experience, giving specific answers to specific questions. If you start asking additional questions, it's highly likely that you will see no answer found on the screen. At the same time, if student asks the teacher, then he can get an answer to any question. In addition, the student must carefully study the topic because the teacher is unlikely to indicate possible answers to his questions, and it will make the child think. When a person is taught by a computer, it doesn't require the student to delve into the essence of the topic being studied. And if difficulties arise, the child can postpone learning for later and then not return to the missed material at all. We understand that until we are given a specific deadline, we will rarely try to complete what we have begun ourselves. Very few people finish their work unnecessarily. In fact, there is an emotional connection between the teacher and the students who need care and attention. After all, learning is not easy for everyone. If the day may come when computers will replace teachers, then there may also come a day when a person gives up the need for a family. Because many tasks can be performed by machines, but there are things that cannot be replaced by anything else. The most important among these are emotions such as love, care, and affection. In conclusion, I want to note, despite the fact that we are becoming technologically advanced, both these things and the teacher's approach to teaching can never be replaced, but online learning is becoming more popular every day.
Mm-hmm. Now, explain
So,
us your enumerations.
enumerations with conjunction, then, that, when, not only, but, and, anytime, so, while, because, as such as, um, and also these such as love, care, and affection. This is enumerations.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Do you have other volunteers? Do you have
Can I,
other
teacher?
volunteers? Mm-hmm.
Can I?
Continue, please.
Mhm. Uh, my essay about music, and it's difficult to speak about music in general because it will take a lot of time or just one sentence to explain our attitude. Music in an integral part of our life. It's varied because it reflects different human emotions. If you ask several people what kind of music they like, all of them will give different answers. Tastes differ, but the world of music is boundless, and everybody can find there something that satisfies his tastes and demands. And all of the people will agree that our world will be dull without music. We enjoy music because it influences our mood, and the imagination reflects our inner state and character, arouses deep emotions and makes us sing. It helps us to remove from tiredness and the tension or find new strange, get new energy and optimism. That's why we can say that all kinds of music are popular with public, classical and pop music, folk music and jazz, operas, musicals, orchestras, performances, and chamber music, rock and roll, heavy metal, rap rock, hard rock, rap, and so on. For this reason, music festivals, which are held annually, gain a large audience. As for me, I enjoy both classical music and variety show. Some people say it's difficult to understand classical music, but I have never been scared by the fact I enjoy music if it appeals to me. I am fond of Tchaikovsky, Bach, Mozart among contemporary composers. I appreciate Lloyd Webber and his musicals and rock operas. If you want to know my preferences in pop music among singers or pop groups, I won't be able to name any, for variety is variety. I like to listen to different songs, to watch different singers, to hear something new. But I prefer tuneful, melodious, easy to remember, light, and sometimes haunting. I have finished, and
Okay.
on the second paragraph have enumeration, has an enumeration, and I used conjunctions.
Mhm.
They are because, and as for me, some, and mm, so, uh, and a lot of time, just, um, all of them, mhm, and because, yes.
Okay, thanks a lot. So, dear students, dear our monitor, can you tell me who is absent? We have one student. Can you name
Malik,
your full name?
Malik Dinara.
Could you repeat, please?
Malik Dinara.
Okay, thanks a lot. Who would like to continue?
Me, teacher.
Mm-hmm. Arayalım. Continue, please.
Yes. My essay, people are very different in appearance and personality.
Mm-hmm.
More than 7 billion people live in Earth, and each person is unique in their origin, character, and temperament. When meeting a person, his appearance helps to determine the character of a person. If you carefully analyze the smallest details, you can accurately identify the dominant features and characteristic qualities of the interlocutor. And the person looks beautiful in your opinion, aesthetically pleasing, neat, nice, and decent, then you will definitely want to get to know him better, what he's inside. This allows you to for a completely build a style of communication with this person, organize partnerships with him if necessary, and establish a dialogue based on the principles of cooperation. If a person doesn't cause you any positive emotions, or on the contrary causes only dislike because it looks somehow wrong, then most likely you don't want to continue to interact with him and get to know him better. But here you like the person on the external qualities. How are things with this choice? If you have feelings for this person, or is it a business relationship or maybe a friendly one? When you experience feelings, appearance is the least you really pay attention to. You think about the future of your relationship and preferably long term, and this is where character is important because it should feed your character. It shouldn't contradict your beliefs and norms uh, that you have in your head. There have been many studies where it has been proven that if you have feelings for a person, they automatically became very beautiful for you, even if they are clumsy. On the contrary, all this shortcomings will only attract you more, because people are drawn to imperfect people. All the same with regard to business or friendly communication, you will not be able to build a normal relationship if the person isn't suitable for you in character. So my answer, first, we pay attention to appearance and beauty. We build long, trusting relationships based on internal qualities. Therefore, both factors are equally important. For the first impression, beauty is important, but this concept is subjective. There are no ugly people. It is a matter of taste. For further relationships, character is important. Mm, there is, first of all, the enumeration sentence is, and the person looks beautiful in your opinion, aesthetically pleasing, neat, nice, and decent, then you will definitely want to get to know him better, what he's inside. This sentence is enumeration with conjunction. Nice and decent. This word, war, because, but, or, when, because, so, therefore, there is conjunction.
Okay, thanks.
So I have finished.
Thanks a lot. Now switch off. Switch off your demonstration. So do we have other students who would like to continue? If we don't have, I would like you to demonstrate video in which the author of the video tries to explain writing essay part by part. So would you like to watch?
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Give you the particular parts, and then you can fill it in. All right. So why don't we start off the beginning? Up here is what we call a grabber. Okay, the grabber. And you're going to say, what is a grabber? Well, it's not grab her. Don't get a girl and grab her. You'll go to jail. What you want to do is catch someone's attention. If you remember rightly, I said I'm not really interested in what was in the paper, and I wasn't. And it's simply because they didn't grab my attention. To grab.
Okay, dear students, let's discuss this. Teacher gives us essay writing methods. He says to start from grabber, but in our lecture we call it how?
Topic sentence.
Introduction. Topic sentence measure winner.
Topic sentence measure intro. Yeah, introduction, intro. Okay, so we called it like a hook, if you remember. Do you remember hook? We have discussed with you about hook. In order to get attention, to get the interest of the reader into our essay, we have to use our hooks. Hooks, it's a main sentences that grabs interest of the readers, attention of the readers. Okay, continue.
That means to catch and hold. They didn't catch it and hold it. Now, a good grabber, I wrote this here, but what a good grabber will do will make you read it and look at it at first, and then make you want to go deeper. Well, how do we get a good grabber? Well, there are 5 basic ways we usually talk about. 5-finger method, right? Now, number 1 is this. Hold on. Why did the chicken cross the road? Come on. You want to know, right? Okay. To go to Kentucky Fried Chicken and see his relatives. You like, right? You like, it's horrible. It's horrible, but it's a joke. Sometimes you can actually start off an essay with a joke, a little bit of a joke. It makes people go, that's funny. And then I'm going to say, why did you tell me this joke? I grabbed you. I got you. Now you're curious about what else I have to say, even if it's not the best joke. Okay? Now, sometimes we want to be a little bit more serious because we are obviously studying at higher institutes of learning, right? And if you're doing that, then you might want to go a little bit higher. You might want to put down the old proverbial proverb, you know? A bird in the hand. Oops, sorry, that's proverb. I preferred something else, but I didn't write it. All right, proverb, all right? And, you know, a proverb is basically something that's been written a long time ago. Everybody kind of knows it. We don't know who said it. A bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. George Bush, I'm not talking about you. Okay, you know, everybody knows these things. I mean, that one is.
Okay, did you notice the joke? Okay, keep going, dear students. Dear students, pay attention. Be careful with it while you are watching the video, because here you can have a very interesting materials. Right now, the author have said a good joke. That's why I love that.
In several languages, people literally have told me we have it in my language. Who made it? We don't know. But then sometimes you want to get a little bit more, you know, poignant, or you want to get a little bit more serious. So you want to use a quote. One of my favorite quotes is by a guy named Winston Churchill, a Prime Minister of England. And one day I'll wear my England shirt with my name on it. Look out for that lesson, okay? Anyway, he's...
Okay, right now, our author have explained proverb and quote. What are the differences between them? What is the difference between them? Proverb and quote.
Proverb,
So,
proverb, it's a thing that became by people from ancient time. And the quote, it's a thing that one person, for example, one person's opinion, maybe his
That is said by someone, by philosophers, maybe.
what?
Yes.
What? Excuse me, Baljan. Could you repeat your answer?
Quote is a station that's said by someone, maybe by philosophers, maybe by another Greek people.
What about proverbs then?
Proverb, on the other hand, is saying that dates back to medieval times.
Now, who's
And as a
answering right
person-
now? I cannot see your name. Who's answering? Sultan by Myra, yes?
Yes.
Okay, Myra.
Proverb, the person who said or written is not known, and
Yeah.
is commonly. Yes.
The author of the proverb is not known.
Yes.
Yes.
The author of the quotation is?
Quotation is
Definite.
someone
Definite.
has said
Yes, it is
and
known.
or write. Yeah.
So the difference in it. So dear students, keep in your mind, okay? Yeah, you were quite right, Diana, and excuse me, I have forgotten, Baljan. Yes, you were quite right. Proverb comes from ancient time. That's why the author of the proverbs are forgotten. We don't know who said the proverbs, who have invented a definite proverb. But quotation means in Kazakh tırnakça, yeah, someone's opinion. Yeah, you are right. But the difference in that in proverb the author is unknown, in quotation the author is known. Okay, let's continue.
He said, I am always ready to learn. However, I am not always prepared to be taught. And that's where I kind of get my philosophy for teaching as well, right? Like people always want to learn. They never say, I don't want to learn English. They just might not like your style of teaching. So you have to adapt, right? So you might have a quote, which I just gave you. The next is this, because that sometimes is a little bit what we call frou-frou, a little snobby. You might want to bring it a little bit more down to earth, and you might want to use your own anecdote. Little story from your life, So you're talking about the essay, and you go, in my life, maybe I came from a small town up in New Haven. I'm making this up, it's a story, right? And everybody was poor, but the one thing we had was soul. We cared, right? And then you might turn around and say in your essay, it's this caring that makes humanity work. It doesn't matter what we have. Oh my God, that's so deep, right? So an anecdote can do that. Now, there's a couple other things, because if you're doing, well, maybe as I said, you might not be in school, maybe you're doing business. And there are a couple other things that would work well for you. Well, one is a surprising fact. I shouldn't have told you yet. Did you know 1 in 2 people are female? Yeah, of course you did. That's not a surprising fact, but you get the drift. When I say you get the drift, you get the general idea, which basically means you tell people something that they may not have known. Completely surprises them. Like Diet Cola will rot your brain and give you brain cancer. I'm sure you're like, right now, right? You're like, oh my God, no one told me this. Yeah, it's possible, okay? So a surprising fact. And if that doesn't work, this one always works. I guarantee it. You know how I can guarantee it? Okay, how about this? How would you like to make $1 million in the next 10 minutes? Okay, now Ingvid's server is crashing because you're all going, how I make the money, how I make the money. And this is when we use your curiosity. I'm gonna ask you a question. You start with a question, people are like, I need to know. I want to know the answer to this question. These are your grabbers. So sorry it took so long to get to it, but this is an important thing. Because if you don't have my attention.
Okay, dear students. Now, in introduction, or we can call it intro, we can convert it like this. And dear students, we have to do what? As I have said on our previous lesson, we have to get interest of the or attention of the reader into our essay. So here, our author shows us grabber method. How can we get attention of the reader? We can use joke, we can use proverb quote, and we can use anecdotes, surprising facts, curiosities. So you can make a note of this on your paper if you need, or you can find this video on your TNG base if you would like to rewatch this video. Okay, so my task for you, my home task for the next week, try to use these grabber methods or tips in your introduction to get my attention to your essay. So, dear students, you don't need to write whole essay. You need just to write intro part of your essay and use grabbers. So those works which will really take my attention will be graded with high marks. Is that clear to you?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So do we need to continue watching?
Yes, teacher.
Okay.
Yes, of course.
You've got nothing. So I might waste 3 minutes of your time now explaining it, but understand, without these things at the beginning of your paper, nobody wants to read it. And worse, your teacher who has to read it doesn't want to read it. You don't want them to start off negatively. You want them totally interested and captivated. Captivate me like capture, hold on to. They're held, okay? Now, that's your grabber. And now you have the 5 grabbers that we can possibly use, okay? So it's 5 of them. So what's the next part? Now you've got a grabber. I might say to you, what the hell are you talking about? What do you want to tell me? You got my attention. I'm curious. What are you talking about? This is where we come up with topic. Your topic is your subject. Okay, so here, okay, this is the attention. We want your attention. Attention, Kmart shoppers. Okay, but now we want to know the subject. What are you going to talk about? Money, sex, drugs, rock and roll, Ezekiel. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, there are things about Ezekiel you don't know. Okay, now topic is good, but let's just say something like I came up to you and said, I am the richest man in Canada. I wish I was. Caleb Weston tonight. Okay, I am the richest man in Canada. You're going to say, James, prove it. How do I know you are the richest man in Canada? Well, for this, I'm going to have to give you reasons. If I don't have reasons for saying what I'm going to say, why would you believe me? You're going to say, I don't think so. So I need to give you reasons. Now, to keep it simple, I'm going to say, let's talk about 3 reasons. You could have 10 reasons, you could have 2. You want to have more than one, okay? When I talked about the 5-paragraph essay, I talked about introduction, the body, and I said 3 main reasons, and then I said conclusion. So we're going to stick with that formula, okay?
Okay. What you have just heard about?
Next part is
The
about
second part, topic.
So body, yes. Topic. This is a body of our essay. So grabber is an introductional part of our essay. Now we have a body part of essay. So the author divides body parts into 3 sub parts. So as we have said on our first meeting, so and says about the last part, which is called what?
conclusion.
Conclusion. Yes.
Conclusion.
So generally, dear students, this teacher talks about one thing, but from the different point.
Yes.
We have already discussed it, but here this teacher gives us more details, which we have to make a note and to try use in our essay writing.
So let's say we have 3 reasons. They can be any reasons you want, but they should be related back to the topic. I say this because of...
Here, topic is not the title of the essay, dear students. Topic is the thing that we are talking about, that we are writing about in our essay. Don't mix, okay? Don't get confused. Topic is not the title of the essay. Topic is the thing we are talking about.
Yes.
Okay. So that, okay? Another thing we can say that would be main ideas. All right? They're going to end up being your main ideas. There will be a second part to this, which will be based on the body. And we're going to take these reasons and make them the main ideas in the body. Okay? Cool. All right, let's keep going. So, you know, there's got to be another part to this. Yeah. All right, so we have our reasons here, and we'll list them 1, 2, 3, right? Number 1, number 2, number 3. Okay. Now here's the cool thing. Now notice, I put 1, 2, and 3 reasons. These are the first things that come to my mind. But really, when I put the word order over here, you can make up the order. What is stronger? Because when we have an essay, what we want to do is start from the weakest idea and go to the strongest, building, right? You start with $1, you add 2, you add 3, you get more and more. You don't start with 10 and go to 1. That's weak, right? We want more. So here, when we put order, you might put 1, 2, 3 here, but you might say, okay, actually, this should go first, this should go second, and this should go third. So you can organize. Remember I talked about the order? You can organize your thoughts before you write the paper, because it's harder to get rid of words, right, than when we start with the skeleton. Because remember, this will be like 1, 2, 3 words. I'm going to demonstrate quite quickly at the end how we would do a very quick intro, all right? Now, finally, now you've got your grabber and your topic, and you've got your reasons for it. You've told me what you want to talk about. You got my attention, but you haven't told me what you're arguing. Why are you talking about this? Why is this important to me? This comes down to one of the most important and yet fundamental parts of writing in English. The thesis. There we go. The thesis comes last, but sometimes it's first. the reason why, or what I want you to believe, what I want you to understand, what I want you to change your mind to. Okay? Now, if you're saying you're selling something, it's the reason why you should buy my product. Okay? My product is a car. This is what's good about it, but ultimately, this is why. It's the best and why it's the best. Now, to write a thesis can be most difficult. Can be, or we can make it simple. And one of the easiest ways to do it is, well, if you've got a topic, do you like it or don't you like it? Positive or negative? Do I support it? Am I against it? Once you figure that out, it's not that hard to write a thesis, because the next stage we're going to go to is W5. W5 is who, what, where, when, why, and how. Okay? That's that tiny thing that you're not supposed to see, because it's not really a W, but you know.
Okay, dear students, how do we call such kind of questions? I think you all have passed through grammar lessons, yes? Have you studied grammar?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
In grammar, you have learned about this. You have learned W5 questions, but we call these W5 questions in other way.
Special.
Special question.
We call it special questions. We call it WH questions.
Yes, WH question.
We call it WH questions. So, you know, dear students, these are the materials that you are already acquainted with. But this teacher is talking from different point of view. You know all these materials. I think you are understanding what is he talking about. Yes?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
How are you is a question, right? It's an information question. We need to draw information. What we're going to do here is we start with a topic and we start doing the W5s, like why is it important? Who is affected by it? When was it invented? Where would you find it? This kind of thing. We start with a question. It gives us a question about the subject itself. Now, what we can do from that, once we've decided if we want to be positive or negative, and we have a W5, we flip this, get rid of it. Literally, when we do questions in English, we have how are you? And then we can flip it around and say, okay, good idea. What do you like? We get rid of it, we flip it around and go, I like this, right? So we flip a question into a statement just by taking the verb and the subject and flipping them. And you can say, boom, boom, boom. Good example. Well, I like fighting. Right? Who is affected by fighting? Right? You might say, who is affected by fighting? Your strong statement, everyone. Because the answer will predict.
So, Tashkanbayeva, Araylim Timurkhan, Sultanbay Mayra, Imambek Asiel, and Jandilda Bagam. I will take off 5 points from your grades.
Predict your strong statement. So when we go from the question, we get an answer, and then we make that the strong statement. So who is affected by fighting? Everyone. Strong statement. Everyone is affected by fighting. Therefore, because I hate it, it must be ended. Wow. Easy steps. Hook a topic, boom, boom, boom. We get a thesis. Right? Now, of course, it's going to take a little longer, but I'm going to take a second or two to go through an example one for you right now. Because when I give you this introduction, it should take you 5-10 minutes to come up with one. Of course, you're going to have to fill it out with sentences, but you should get the basic essence down very quickly. So, of course, you're good students and you've studied, right? So let's take a look. Okay, you know this one is a grabber. You know this is topic. And you know this is your argument, right? Okay, so what you want to argue, I should say. Your argument, what you want to argue. So let's do a grabber. All is fair in love and war. Subject, fighting. Fighting. Now, we got our grabber. You got my attention. All of this fair, because what are you talking about? Love, war, what? Now I'm telling you the subject's about fighting. Then we're going to say, well, what about fighting? Power. Hurt. Okay. When you fight, you get power from fighting. When you fight, people get hurt. Okay. People get hurt when you fight. And let's say solution. Okay, okay, James, so far you've written this, but it's not helping me. I go, I'm not finished. This is my argument. Because now we're going to do the thesis. Remember, we can go positive or negative. So, of course, most of you are thinking fighting is bad, right? And it's about power, hurting people, and solutions. I'm telling you, fighting is good. I decided I'm going to go positive. What? You're crazy. I am. You haven't figured this out? Too late. Fighting is, I'm going to say, fighting. Well, before I even get there, because I can say fighting is good, W5, 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 W5. I'm going to now find some reason to come in here and make it positive. How can fighting help us? When does fighting do the most damage, or when does fighting do the best in a relationship? Who is the best fighter? See, these are W5s. I said I want to be positive. So now I'm going to do this W5 thing. I'm going to go, okay. Fight. Fighting is the only way to heal the world. What? Now he's gone crazy. That worm is in his brain. No, hear me out. I'm going to show you how this essay works. I know it's crazy, it's a mess, but you're going to hear me out, okay? I've done my W5, I think positive. I went how, I used the how, and I said strong statement. How strong? Look, the only. The best thing to do in a thesis is use superlative.